18 shelves high. We have immense rolling stairs so people can get to the top. And there are 18 to 20 of them. That's just here in the Washington National Records Center. Some of these records are things, it's actually not your income tax returns, but say your passport applications are here. And some of those records, the passport records, are considered permanently valuable because they have incredible genealogical information that may not be available elsewhere. Your income tax returns of Native Americans are based on records that we have. And they may look boring, but to someone they're a real bonanza. But this is a cool thing. It's a plan, but architectural. So one of our goals is to make records usable. And if a researcher encounters something like this and says, I need to use these, you can send questions directly to preservation@nara.gov. And there's several Facebook pages. The preservation one, National Archives Preservation, pretty much focuses on paper, photos, and motion pictures because we're the guys who are putting it out. But there's more going on. Love to have you visit, and please friend us. Thanks.
My name is Martha Murphy. I work in the Special Access and FOIA branch. The great majority of the records in our custody are the very small percentage of NARA's records that aren't open to the public. But the exception to that is the JFK assassination collection, which is in our unit because it is opened under a special access law passed by Congress. Kennedy assassination records collection was created because of a law that was passed in 1992. And basically, what had happened is, through the years, there had been a whole bunch of government investigations. They didn't seem to lead anywhere. No one seemed to trust the government to investigate these things. And so Congress, after the movie JFK was a big influence, because if you may recall at the end, they talk a lot, there's some credits that roll that talk about how all the records are closed, which wasn't completely accurate, but nonetheless, because 98% of the Warren Commission was already open. But the HSCA records were still closed at that time. So Congress decided to pass an act, and the act basically said every agency in the government needs to look for all their Kennedy assassination-related records. They need to transfer them to the National Archives. They created an independent agency that would determine what should be open and what should be closed, with the only appeal going to the President, even for classified records, which was unprecedented. And the records ended up here at the National Archives. They are idiosyncratic for NARA because we don't do collections here except in the presidential libraries where you will get donations of materials. Federal records here are arranged primarily by the agency that created them because there is knowledge in that. If we start arranging these by subject, you would lose the provenance, which means you wouldn't know who created it, when it was created, and that's part of what makes the records important and what gives them validity. So we were told to create a collection, so we did, and we did it by co-locating the physical records, which is about 5 million pages of documents, and also describing them through a central website. And then under the Act, we also had to create a database, and the database is actually an item-level database, which again is very unusual for the National Archives. We can't really describe 4 billion pieces of paper down to the item level yet. Probably never, but regardless. These records, anything that was not open as of the passing of the Act was open or was documented through a database. As such, that database was put online, and we were one of the earlier collections or groups of records at NARA to be well described through the web, because this happened in the mid-90s. We're not exactly usually ahead of the game here, although we're moving in the right direction. So when I was asked to do this talk, my immediate feeling was, well, let me see what Wikipedia has done, and then I can do a critique. You know, what could Wikipedia do? How can someone come in, use our records to perhaps improve the site? And then I realized it's really good, and we don't need to improve anything, so what am I going to talk about? Not there aren't a few inaccuracies in here, but it's pretty darn good, I have to say. So I said, okay, instead of that, let's talk about it as a case study. This would be, if every group of records or topic of interest that was largely accessed through the National Archives was described this well, we'd be in good shape. And you all would be in good shape, and the public would have access to a really nice, succinct discussion that would give the basic, accurate information and then lead them in directions where they could come here and look for records, or go online and find other resources. So, what are the strengths of this website? First off, it's neutral. As you may imagine, the Kennedy assassination tends to attract numerous opinions, conspiracy theories, and the like. The National Archives has no opinion, and we've always been that way. And we're that way not just about the Kennedy assassination, but about all our records. We're not here to write history. Our goal is to facilitate the exploration and writing of history. So we're here to help you write history. And so the Kennedy Act was consistent with that, and I would say that this site is consistent with that. It acknowledges conspiracy theories exist, but it gives the basic facts. If things have been definitely refuted, it talks about that, but it doesn't take an opinion, and I think that's great. I was very happy to see that. It's fairly accurate. I was looking at it much more closely on the train ride here today, which was really slow, so I'm sorry. And there are very few things in here that I would change. It was very well done. It's well sourced, and if you go to the bottom, you'll see every one of these sources points to something, and if it can, it points to an online resource to either see the item that you're talking about, there's testimony where there's transcripts that have been put up, or to point you to a direction where you could find the source. It includes archival imagery. Some of it came from, well, I don't know if it came from the National Archives, but it's photographs that are certainly in our holdings. And the citations, as I said, link directly to sources where possible. They discuss the HSCA report. That's something that we put up on our website, and it links to it. But it's not just NARA that they're going by. As you can imagine, the JFK collection has been plumbed pretty carefully. And people have come in and they've digitized things and put them up on the web. And they've found transcripts and put them up on the web. So it's great. It goes to lots of different places. So I want to keep this quick, and I don't want to get too deep into the woods. I think the future opportunities would be, again, to say more online documents linked and shared. Right now, the National Archives has not a whole lot digitized and up online with the JFK collection. Mostly it's photographs of our, very high quality actually, photographs of our most important artifacts, which we actually did for preservation reasons, so that we could capture their status, you know, how they're looking, and then making sure everything's good. We could compare them to the later, but then once we'd done them for preservation, we said, let's put them up on the web. And through our ARC interface, which I think we're going to talk about in a little while, you can get in, do a search, and find them online. So those things that we have seem to be cited here. Other organizations have done a very good job of digitizing some of our images and some of our textual files and putting them online, and they're also linked here. But there's more that certainly could be done. One of the sites that wasn't cited here was one that's called the Mary Farrell Foundation, and they have a large portion of our records up online, so that would be something, you know, as a suggestion, something else that could be linked to. I also was interested in the Wikipedia featured article, and I could see NARA taking, you know, being a facilitator for anyone who wants to do a featured article. And, you know, I was looking through your site to see, well, what makes a featured article? You know, it's well written, it's comprehensive, it's well researched, it's neutral, it's stable, it's got a good lead, appropriate structure, consistent citations. Those are all things that we would be thrilled if someone came in, used our resources, and came up with a product that's this good. Fully understanding it won't be solely in the National Archives, but we hope that we can be a resource for you, and that you can approach us about helping with some of those things, even if it means coming in and actually working on the paper. So, thank you.
How it happens at NARA, but again, I only have 10 minutes, so it's going to be a little bit of a bird's eye view, but also if you have an interest in it, you can catch me later on and ask me more questions. I'm happy to delve in. So I'm going to look at digitization and then how things get online and then online interfaces that we have now and the ones that we're hoping to have in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the online public access catalog. The archival research catalog. We'll bring up online public access prototype later. So the archival research catalog is currently the interface that we have to look at the digital copies that we have available online. And right now we have about 153,000 digital copies, and that includes photographs, digitized copies of the paper records, and digital copies of motion picture and audio files that have been made available. And then we also have a ton of electronic records that were born digital that are available through currently our access to archival databases system. We'll take a look at that as well. And ARC the digital images that are available in there, they actually did a big push